Okay, this is my saltwater tank that I built from scratch. I say I built from scratch, it doesn't mean I made the fucking glass in the case. I bought all that shit, but I built the inside from scratch. So, I want to point out a few things here. When I first started making saltwater tanks, I went to the store, like a local pet store, and they sold me this kit saying, saltwater tank, everything you need in one box. Yeah, not so true. So that stuff lasted about 3 months, and then it all fouled out, and I had to end up doing something before all the fish died and get them into a nicer tank. So I didn't go back to the same shop and buy a bigger tank. Actually, a friend of mine gave me this one, and I just moved him over. So let's point out some of the things that I have in here, and I'm going to make some suggestions to you so like when you build your saltwater tank you can miss some of the downfalls that I had when I started building mine. Alright, let's start here on the left hand side. This bad boy right here is a UV filter. The one in the back, not the thermometer, you dumbass. That is a UV filter. I bought that off of eBay for cheap. It was like $47 or something like that. And you just look up aquarium eBay, go on eBay, look up aquarium UV filter, and just go through it, and you'll find one that looks like that, and that's the one I bought. They sell a bunch of them. It's out of a shop in China, and it's pretty good, because the ones from the States are like at least double or maybe even triple the price. Okay, so what that does is all the water flows in through the bottom there, and then out through the top nozzle there, and in the middle, in that long portion, there's this UV bulb, and that vaporizes and nukes all the microbes and little nasty bugs and diseases and stuff that get in the water because of fish shit. And also, the side effect of that is, as you can see, it makes the water like crystal clear. So when you get yours, it may take a couple days because yours is probably filthy and disgusting and gross. Yeah, I said it, and I meant it. So it might take a couple days, but eventually that water will be clear. And it's pretty nice to have that. And it just runs in the background, it's quiet, it's submersible. It's got a big hose that hangs out so it draws air in. I just hung that over the side there. And then it draws the air in and then pushes it through. And then sucks the water in the bottom. There you go. Okay, now look at these rocks here. This is a rock formation. I just recently added this. That rock in the front, that's an actual live rock. But the rocks in the back, the ones making up like the pyramid, the Castle of Grayskull looking thing, what that is those are just rubber rocks that I bought out of the pet store. And I bought them because fish like little crevices and little places to hide, but you still want to see your fish, right? So you want to give them what they want, but you still want to make it like where you can see them. And then the reason I have that live rock in there, and you can see it almost matches. It almost matches the fake ones. Sometimes fish might want to lay eggs, or they might need to be around something live. Fuck if I know. I have one in there. Moving on, that's the filter system there. That part there shoots out water. It shoots it into there, and it kind of creates like a current in the tank. You'll see later that my tank has a current. It's kind of like a tornado, and I guess you could say that's the starting point. That blows water out. It hits the glass, comes around this side. This thing sucks water in the bottom and blows it out the top. It pushes it along the side. It comes over to this thing over here, which is just a power head pump, which all it does is create like water pressure, and it just keeps that water moving. And the reason you want to do that in a saltwater tank is because if you don't, all that fish shit and uneaten food and all that crap ends up in your sand. And for the most part, the sand at the bottom of my tank is pretty clean. There's a couple things in there I want to clean them up later, but for the most part it's pretty clean. You can see that. Okay? Right there, that's the back part of the filter. That's the suck part. So I got 3 things that suck in the row. Alright, so this goes down to the canister filter, the Aheim Pro canister filter that sits under the cabinet. And these 2 guys here, these are cool. These are things that I made. This right here is a protein skimmer, and what that does is it sucks water up into it. That water mixes with the air, and all your doo-doo and bugs and everything that's microscopic, they mix with the air and they stick to the air bubbles and they float out there and they get caught in that top canister. And then every once in a while you just clean out that top canister with a sponge, and that pulls out some fish shit and other horrible stuff out of your water. Another thing that this does is it helps to off-gas. So if you don't know what off-gassing is, to put it simple, like these creatures that are in here are alive, so they produce gas. They produce ammonia, they produce CO2, they produce like probably methane. I'm not sure about that, but probably because they shit, right? So methane, all those gases have to get mixed into the water, right? Because it's just the water's moving around and all that gets mixed in there. So this thing pulls that water up inside, mixes that water with all those bad gases in it with regular air, and then it can just float away. So it helps off gas. Much like when a diver does a safety stop, right? Okay, and this lovely piece of work right here, this is a filter. This is a handmade filter. It's just a 2-liter bottle. I got an air hose going in there. It's got a pump sitting up top there. Sponge. So what happens is, like, this thing, because air is flowing into it and it's going through all those little filter rocks in there, those little filter elements, okay, it's creating a suction. So I got the sponge over the cap part, which I've poked holes in, and I put a sponge over that, so as the water's getting sucked in, all the big chunks that stick to the sponge can later be thrown out, and then everything that goes through there, all the water that flows through there, actually gets stuck on those filter bits. And then, you know, that'll last forever. You know, you probably change that, what, once a year, if that, when you need to, when it looks disgusting. Okay. Right there, that's a rock that was made by fucking evolution. Alright. Right there is the pump I was talking about. That's your power head pump. Its main job is just to squirt water. All it does is squirts water. It gets the water moving. It keeps all those gases, you know, off-gassing at the surface of the water, in addition to like flowing past the skimmer that I built there. You know, it keeps everything flowing. Keeps all that crap off your sand, all the shit in uneaten food, and it makes it float in the middle of the water. So as it floats in the middle of the water, it comes by. It goes around the circle, goes around the loop. Goes around the loop, and as it comes by, it hits the first filter, it hits the skimmer, and it hits my second filter, then it gets thrown in the loop again. And hopefully that's going to keep the water looking nice and clean. Alright, you can see there's a couple of my clownfish, a couple yellowtail damsels, and over there, that's Candy. There he goes. His name is Candy. He is a samurai squirrelfish. You can look that up. See him? He hates you. Alright, these things here, I learned how to make these just by going on YouTube, so you can do the same fucking thing. That's it. Take it easy. Out! Go fuck yourself.